So as I mentioned, so basically in functions we are not going to be learning something new logically, because it is a purely a structural component. Okay, so function is nothing but a set of lines of code, but that should be recallable or reusable, I can say that. So the logic wise, whatever we learned so far, like if condition, for loops, or collections, or variable, that only will use. But only additionally, we are making a new structural component called function to make it reuse in the maybe in the same program or in different program we can call it, or different like module we can call it. So that is the basic advantage of the function. So basically a function is a group of lines of code. I can say that group are set of lines of code. Okay, so the primary intention to perform a specific action, like functions cannot be all together as a one code we cannot write. Like example, you want to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication. So all three together we are not writing as a single function. So always a function intention is to create perform a single task. So I can say task based sorry task based code snippets, I can say that. Okay, so that means these are always target to perform only one task, and after performing the task it will return or it will print some output as per the client need. Okay, but it's not like always grouped together. And the next point, use a def keyword to define the functions. Okay, so we always use def as a keyword to define the functions in Python. And the major advantage, as I mentioned, so these are reusable. That means once we return the code, we can call any number of times, and we can recall them any number of times as per our requirement. Okay, and the another advantage is easy debugging. That means whenever we got any issues or any problems, we can easily sort out that issues, because we are dividing the entire code into small modules or small what you call functionalities, so that we can easily understand what is going to be happening in the code and where the problem is. We can easily understand. That is what we call modular structure. Yeah, I hope you understand what is function and how we are, what is the main advantage of the function. So the syntax, how we are defining the function means, so first we have to write def followed by function name and followed by arguments which are input to the function, and then you can write the code. So as like your if condition or for loop, for this also we have to maintain the block structure, because function is also a block of code. So we have to give the tab space to allocate the functional code. Okay, now these functions cannot be called automatically now. And the next point is, so functions are not self-executable. Okay, so at any time functions themselves cannot call, we have to call always. So we have to call them to get the output, we have to call them. And the next one, functions takes input. Okay, so functions takes input in the form of, so takes input in the form of arguments. Remember, like we never like give use input statement within the function. Input statement always we should use outside the function, so we should not use within the any function. So basically that is the a kind of standard we have to follow. So that's why whenever you want to give any kind of like any what we can say that argument or any inputs to the function, that we will pass as arguments. So that's why it's supporting a full argument support, like any number of arguments we can pass, or any number, any type of arguments we can pass. It always depends on our requirement, I can say that. So that is the one more advantage we can say that. So any doubt as of now, just go through the points what I written. If you have any doubt, please ask me. And the final the point, it may return the result. It may return the result using return keyword. So we will use return keyword in the function to return the value and to stop the execution of the function. And now if I want to call this function, again we have to write the function name, followed by we have to supply the arguments which are matching with the declaration. Okay, so this is the way of writing and what you call points you require to understand as part of the functions. Please try to understand each point whatever I written. If you are not getting any point, please ask me. I will give you 1 to 2 minutes time, so that we'll start execution and I will showcase the sample code for that. No doubts? Okay. So now I'm going to be starting a simple program with respect to functions. Okay. Okay, see here. So I'm defining a very simple function. As you know, very simple sum of the two numbers I'm taking. So as I mentioned, the function will be always defined by def followed by function name. I'm taking as a sum, and here I'm passing two arguments, that is a comma b. Okay, and after that I'm finding the c equal to a plus b, that is sum of the two numbers, and I'm printing the sum is c. So print sum is equal to comma c. Okay, and now if I see, this is what I told you, the function can be defined using def keyword, and the function name which you can define whatever action you want to perform, and it takes some arguments and it may not take the arguments also. Let's take example, if I don't want to give the arguments as def, let's take I'm giving hello. Okay, so here I'm writing print, let's take welcome to Python, let's take example. So this is another function. So here I'm not using any arguments if you observe that, but here I'm passing the two inputs as an argument, that is numbers a comma b. So here that is what I told you, like you can define the any number of arguments, or without arguments also you can define and any type also. It's not rule that you have to define only numbers or text. Python is supporting any type of arguments. And now whatever the functions you created, like see here till this point one code snippet, and this one another code snippet. Likewise, in a single program you can define any number of functions as per requirement. There's no rule that in one program we should write only one function or only one code snippet. It's not like that. You can write any number of functions as part of your particular code. And now if I'm running this program, you see, you won't get any output. At the same time you won't get any what we can say that error also, because the functions are created but this is not executed. As I mentioned, right, the functions are not self executable. That means the code will be created internally and the function will be saved, but that does not execute automatically. If you want to execute, you have to call it. So let's take, I want to call the hello function. So now you have to call it and now run it. You will get the hello function. See that, welcome to Python came. See that. Still the sum of the two numbers didn't call it because I didn't call them. Okay, So now the sum of the two numbers we can call in two ways, by passing the static values, by passing the dynamic values. So if I want to pass the static values, simply you can call sum of 10 comma 20, because it is asking two values. You can give any two values, that's it. So the output will be print and see sum will be 30. But here it is we call static values. Now if you want to get any dynamic values, if you want to pass, then we have to define, let's take a equal to int of, as we already know that how to take the input from the keyboard, enter a value. Now it will ask the from the keyboard whatever the values we are giving, the further the output will be run now. So input of enter b value. Okay, now for this given a and b values I want to do the sum. So now in that case you have to pass that values as arguments. So now whatever the inputs you given from the keyword, further the sum function will be called and the output will be printed. See now here, see welcome to Python executed and sum equal 30 also executed, because it is static, so directly it is executed. But when coming to the line number 11, is asking for value to waiting for that. Let's take I'm giving 11 and let's take I'm giving 12. So what is the 11 plus 12 now? 33, right? So now you see, sorry, 23, right? So now sum equal to see 23 is the output came. So this is how we are passing the dynamic input. But please remember, these two lines you cannot write within the function. That is not at all a, I can say that acceptable standard. Okay, so we should not write input statement within any function. But it is not showing an error. Again, I'm telling, it's not a violation. That means the program does not show you any error or does not show you any warning also. It is accepting and it will run it. But as for the standards, it's not the right approach. So whenever you want to supply some input to the function, define them outside and pass them as a arguments. That is the approach what we have to follow in generally. So any doubt how I'm defining the function and how I'm calling the function, please let me know. If you are facing any, that any doubt or anything, please ask me. Otherwise, again I told you, right? So see here I called sum 2 times. That means the same function is executed twice in the same program. So that is what we call reusability. So one function can be run multiple times. And also one more beautiness is, it's not mandatory to call the function the same program also. You can call from outside also. Like example, I'm creating a new program. See here, Python file. Let's take fn2 I'm creating. Now if I want to call the sum from here, yes, you can do that. So by using simply import statement, let's take from, what is the module name? Module name is file name fn1, and write import, what is the function? Add, right? So this is sorry, not add, sum. Now you can simply call from here itself. So sum of, let's take 10 comma 100. Now you can run the fn2, you will get output of 110. See that one second. Yeah, fine. So now it's asking that output, because we have input in that also, right? Let's see. This is the 110 last came. But why the other inputs are executed? Because whatever the lines outside is there, these are automatically executable, right? So that's why while you're importing, all that executed. Now I'm commenting here, and now you can execute, only 110 will be displayed. So likewise, we can use one function in the another program also, like whatever I shown here. Okay, so this is the main advantage of the functions in the Python. So once we written any function in any program, that can be reusable in any other program without rewriting the same code. So the code cannot be rewrite, can be callable again and again. So that is the beauty of the functions in Python. Not only Python, any language basically. Okay. So please let me know till the point. If anybody not getting any point, please let me know. I will explain. Otherwise, I will go to the next point. But this is the way how we will define the function and how we will execute the function. Okay, great. So and then I will go with another program. So in previous program, if you observe that I didn't use the return statement in the function, right? I used the only print. I'm calling them. But if I want to return the value, yes, we can able to do that using return keyword. So that I'm performing the example now. Fine 3. And let's take here, you see, let's take def. I'm writing. What I want to do here is let's take. Okay, so I want to take an input as a string and I want to check whether it is a palindrome or not. Okay, so for that I'm writing is palindrome. Okay, so first example, and it is taking an input as a string. So now what is my intention? I want to check given string is input palindrome or not in the function. The same code, but with respect to functions I'm writing. So first we have to find the reverse of the given string. So reverse is equal to the shortcut way already we covered last time. So colon colon minus 1 we can use. And now the conclusion, if reverse is equal to input, then return I'm giving true. So that means I'm asking is palindrome. Yeah, it is giving return true means yes, it is a palindrome. Else return false. That means it is not a palindrome. So likewise, we can also return instead of simply printing here itself like print it's a palindrome, it's not palindrome. We can also return the value. Let's take now. I'm calling that. So is first of all I'm not calling anything. I'm just printing it. I'm calling the fn3. See, it's executed, but you are not getting any output. Point number 1. Now point number 2. Let's take I'm calling is palindrome. Okay, by passing some text called let's take hello. So it has to return the false obviously. Now again I'm printing, but see you won't get any output now also because what happened, it is executed and it returns some value, but we are not capturing that value or we are not printing that value. So in this case, whenever the function returning the value, you have to capture some place. Let's take example result equal to. So now the output will be stored in the result and now print the result. Now you see, you will get an output called false. Now you see, you're getting the false. So similarly, if I'm writing AMM, so now you will get, see, true, because AMMA is reverse also, we are getting the same word. Okay. So likewise, whenever you are writing return, we have to print here by capturing that response. Similarly, I'm calling one more function. Let's take definition. Let's take get max. I'm telling. Okay. So let's take max of given two values. Assume that. So I'm taking two inputs and I want to find the maximum of the two numbers from the using the function. So you know, right? If a greater than b, then what should I do? Return a. Okay. Else simply return b. So that means if a greater than b is returning the a, otherwise returning the b. So taking the two inputs as an two arguments as input and returning one input as an output. So now I'm writing r is equal result equal to get max of, let's take I'm giving 10 comma 20. Similarly, let's take I'm printing the r value now. Okay. So now you can print it, you will get 20 as an input. So that 20 as output. Now if I'm extending the same in reverse way, let's take 100 comma 20. Now with the expected output is 100. See that. So likewise, in functions, the two ways we can handle the output. One is in the function itself, you can print whatever the output you are getting, or you can return the value and the returned value can be stored in the some variable and you can print it out. Or else there is a shortcut also. No need to, sir, I don't want to capture some variable. Yes, you can directly print by the response itself, like print of, say, get of max, let's take 1 comma 7. So directly to print the response called 7. That also possible. See that 7 is printed. That means nothing is different. See, here I written the two lines, whatever I did, the value what are coming, I'm storing in R, I'm printing R. Now instead of R, directly I'm stating the function name itself. So likewise also we can call that. But these are all different ways of calling the functions and capturing the outputs and giving the inputs. So any doubt till the point, please ask me. So this is the a basic syntactical concept for the functions topic, I can say that. And the arguments and return type always optional. That means it's not mandatory always to pass the arguments. It is not mandatory always we should return the value. It's based on always purely based on your requirement, whether you want to take input or not, whether you want to return value or not. It all depends on your function definition and declaration. It's not the structure wise, we don't have any rules. It always depends on our logic. That's it. Any doubt? Okay, fine. So now coming to the basic concept now. So we have different types of functions. Okay, like first one is user defined. So user defined means whatever the functions we written with our own logic, like just before we written some of the functions, right? That all we call user defined functions. Like as per our requirement, we can write our own logics as a function that we call user defined. And coming to the predefined, so the name itself is telling these are all well defined functions in the Python library. And whenever we require these functions in our program, we can directly import them and we can use it. But in this predefined, we have totally three categories again. So first category is within Python, I can say that. So within Python, okay. So I will tell you one by one. So here, if you see whatever the functions we written, these are user defined. I hope you understand now. Whatever the function like sum, hello, and palindrome, whatever I written just now get match. These are all user defined. So simply from today onwards, what are the functions we are writing that everyone belongs to user defined only. Now I'm explaining a little bit about predefined. So this predefined is categorized into three types. Okay. The first one is within the Python, it's available. That means whatever the some of the inbuilt functions which are coming along with the Python installation in global level. Okay, so that means what I'm trying to explain means in this you don't require to import or anything. You can directly use them whenever and wherever you require. Like example, I will tell you one of the function I will tell you. So for example, just before we use it, right, like input function. Input is also a function, or print, you can say that. So print also inbuilt function only. So to use the print in your program, I'm not importing or I'm not installing anything additionally. Okay. So this is we called a built-in function which is already available with Python global level. So that we can use directly whenever we require. And let's take we learned about collections, right? So we learned so many functions with collections. Like example, one of the sum only, if you consider. So if I want to write the sum of the li, I don't require to import or install anything. Directly I can use the sum because it is also a global level inbuilt function. See that? So this is a category 1, I can say that. Okay, so category 1 is built-in, sorry, built-in with Python global, I can say that. Okay, and now coming to the second category, I'm telling built-in with Python. Okay, these are also coming along with your Python, but not globally. We have to import whenever you require, import them, so they won't come automatically. Like example, I will tell you. So let's take, I want to print a random number. Randomly, I want to print a number. So for that, I will use a random function. Let's take example. I'm taking a equal to random. See, random dot. Okay. So let's take random dot random, where I'm giving. Let's take 10 comma, or otherwise I can give random dot rand, and I'm printing the value. Okay. So print a. And if you observe that, see that if I'm remove import random, see you are getting an error. See, it is expecting that import this item. It is already there, but you require to import it as like module I use it, right? So similar to that, you require to import it. See, import random, then only you can able to execute it. So now you are able to execute in that random function, built the function. See, now you are getting random object, and if I'm getting random dot, so we have a different functions here. So now I'm executing, you see, you're getting some 0.34. And now if I'm executing 0.80, likewise, every time it will give a decimal random number from 0 to 1. But if I want to get the only random integers only, there is an option for that also. So that is we call, so that is we call randint. So randint will give you a range of random number in between the 2 digits, like 17 you are getting. Now you see 17, now 16, now 20. See, likewise, a random numbers in between the 2 digits will get. But here my point is the random is an inbuilt library which we are importing and we are using. This is the second level of inbuilt. The third one, external built-in functions. That means these are also built-in, but which are not available with Python. So that you require to install, and you can use them by importing the respective functions. Example, any machine learning libraries or AI libraries or any deep learning libraries, that all libraries are not available by default. That you require to install first, and then only you can start working with them. Let's take example, if you want to use the pandas. Okay, so import, we are writing pandas, right? So this pandas not available. See, import pandas not working. See that it's asking install package. See that if you observe that. So this is what I'm telling. So some of the package, some of the libraries which are available but which are not install along with the Python. So this you require to install whenever you required, whenever you used in the program. So once you install, yes, from that point onwards you can use in multiple programs. No need of multiple times installation, but at least one time you have to install the package before using them. Okay, so that is what the idea of the, let's take again, say that external libraries like that, pandas, numpy, matplotlib. So these are the different libraries we have. So these are all we can use directly whenever you require. Okay, so I hope you understand what I'm telling. Okay, now if I want to use the pandas in my program, I mean to say in my application, you require to install them and you have to use them. So for installation, we have multiple options. Either you can use install by clicking simply here, or else we can go for terminal, where you can use the pip install. So there is a option like I will write a comment like there is a command called pip install followed by what you called command name. So we can use like that, or else go to the interpreter settings. There is an interpreter settings, so where you can have an option to install by searching in the search bar. Like example, in before previous two cases cases, you require to remember what is the package name, but here we don't require like that. Here a search is there, just by typing it will give you option to install automatically from the internet. And also remember, all these libraries are external libraries which are available with free license in the global media, so that if you want to install, it's required internet, because it's not locally available, it will fetch from the internet, so you require internet. Let's take example pandas. See that. So if you type pandas, that will search all the relevant libraries with the pandas, so that all are available. Now whichever you want to require, select it and click on install package. Simple. So these are the different approaches you can use to install the external libraries in the Python. Okay, and after that you can use whatever you require, you can use directly. Okay, let's take example. Here in this case, I'm installing the pandas. Here if you see, install package pandas. Okay, now you see I'm installing it. So now see, once you click it, it is started immediately installing package pandas. So I will show you all three options one by one. Okay, now first I am showing by just hovering on it. I'm showing now by clicking on install package. And the second option, I will take numpy as a terminal. And the third, another library I will go with settings, so that you will get to understand all three variations of how to install that. But these are the external libraries, whichever you required for your project, you can install them. So totally, I hope you understand. So totally three types of inbuilt functions we have. One is with Python globally, another one with Python we require to import them not globally, and the third one we require to install them externally and we have to use it in the application. So that is the second type of predefined function. I mean that second type of function, that is predefined. So I hope you understand now what are the different types of predefined. And the other one, I mean to say, it takes some time to install and configure that. So we'll go parallel, we'll conclude these types of functions. And the third one, we have recursive functions. That means if any if any function called by itself. So sometimes we may mostly using trees, graphs, and recursive functions. That means if you want to call the function again and again multiple times, so then we can use recursive functions. So I will give you some example for that also, but again it's a category of user defined only. Okay, and the next one we have lambda functions. So lambda functions specially designed for to make it execution the single line. So basically if you observe that all the functions we are writing in the multiple lines, right? Like if you see whatever the code we are writing the multiple lines. But if you want to make this entire code in a single line, then we may go for lambda functions. So lambda functions are we called inline functions or single line functions, which is more useful when we are using the like generator functions, or I can say that decorator topics. In that it mostly used. And the next one we have predefined user defined lambda. Yeah, so I hope these are the four basic types, but the implementations of functions we have like decorators, generators, as I mentioned, right, that I will cover later. But ideally the basic types of functions are these are the four types, I can say that. So maybe yeah, it's installed. So after indexing only, see again I'm telling, after installing it will do the indexing. Indexing means that it will load all the installed libraries to our PyCharm and our interpreter. So till the point please wait, otherwise your installed library does not work for a long time. So yeah, see once it is done means it is installed. See the error will gone now. Now you can use pandas wherever you require, like import pandas as PD. Let's take I want to define data frame. Let's take example df is equal to PD dot data frame. Okay, so data frame. Yeah, data frame. Okay, so likewise you can create the data frame and then you can do whatever you require to want to store the data frame, you can use it. So likewise we can use the pandas code. So but before that we have to install it. Similarly, as I mentioned, right, we can also do using by using terminal also, like here you see terminal using that also. Like let's take example, import, I'm writing numpy as np. Let's take example, but yeah, numpy is already installed, so that's why it's using. Now I'm trying to using import matplotlib. We'll see. Yeah, see that matplotlib is not installed. Okay, it's showing install, so that I'm installing from here itself. Okay, so now pip install. Similarly, if you want uninstall it, the same way, pip uninstall. The command is two commands, simply install, uninstall. So pip install followed by package name. So matplotlib. So it is, what is that, find unable to create process using Python XC install matplotlib. The system cannot find the file specified. What happened? I think somewhat configuration issue. We'll see that. But before that, I'm going with this, at least this option. We'll see integrator settings option. Yeah, here I'm trying to install by using this option. We'll see whether it will happen or not. And here also I'm checking to install into our local package. And now search with matplotlib. That's came. So now try to install the package. You see that once you click on install, showing that installing. Once it is done, it will show the message called successfully installed. And similarly, once it is done, we have to go back to the main window and we have to wait till the indexing completed. And if you want to install the specific version of the respective type, you can also have an option to specify the version. So you can change the version of that by checking the checkbox. You will have a get a drop down of versions. You can also choose whatever you require. Yeah, see that it shows that it installed successfully. Now close this and click on OK. You will able to again see the indexing. Till the index complete, you have to wait. So likewise, whatever the external libraries you required for your project, simply you can install them and you can use it. Yeah, it's done, Nana. So likewise, you can use the inbuilt functions. Okay. So this is all about a functions introduction and how we will use the functions topic. Okay. So tomorrow we'll continue the remaining types, like how to create the recursive function and lambda functions, and also we have different types of concepts, like different types of variables we have, and multiple values we can return from a function. How to do that? These all topics will cover in the tomorrow class. And also we have local and global variables, how to define them and how to use it. So I can say the types of variables. So these all will discuss about tomorrow. Please try to practice a little bit about basic functions today so that you can understand. And once the topic completed, we may cover some of the examples also on the functions topic. Okay. So this is all about today class. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Otherwise, we'll sign off the class today.